everyone, welcome back to video 2. I'm really excited to share this one with you. Today I'm going to be talking all about my Nintendo Switch collection, which I'm really excited about because I'm happy with how well my collection's coming along. There are so many games on my wish list and I just want to share with you what kind of games I like to play because of the games I've got, which should be very exciting. So let's do it. I also have these really cool dungarees. I'm just going to show you because they're amazing, and let's just acknowledge how amazing they are. I got them from a vintage shop in Exeter. They're incredible, so enjoy looking at these. Okay, so we're going to start with the games I've got physical copies of, and then we'll move to the games I've got digital copies of. I'm somebody who so prefers to have physical copies of games because you can share them more easily as well. If you have digital copies that you want to share with people, you can't unless you give out your personal information and your account stuff, so I'm not going to advise anyone does that. But I do like to collect things as well, so I hope to have a whole shelf full of my favourite games all lined up. Just looks really nice. First up we have the amazing Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now this was the first game I ever bought on the Switch before I even got one. So this I got the day it came out, I think, in the UK, so it was March 2020. And I was playing it a lot on my dad's Nintendo Switch. Now let's just credit my dad here because he gave up so much time on his Switch for me because I found it so difficult to only play that game for about 5 minutes. Like, I had to play it for hours. There were so many new features in this game that we hadn't seen in the previous Animal Crossing games, and you don't realise how much of a difference it makes just being able to put your furniture outside of your house. Like, this was a moment in Animal Crossing history. But I've always been an avid Animal Crossing player. I think I've had most of the Animal Crossing games, if not all of them, and they've just got progressively better as it's gone on. I am going to do a video about this and talk about my favourite Animal Crossing games and what features they have that appeal to certain audiences, so I won't say too much. I feel like I already have, but I'll save that for my next video that I'm going to do about that. So you wait, stay tuned for that one. So next up we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now of course I have this because I love the Zelda franchise. This is a fantastic addition to an already fantastic franchise. As you've seen in my previous video, if you have seen my previous video, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker is my all-time favourite Zelda game. If you've got one love in a franchise, naturally you gravitate to the new ones that come out. I heard so many amazing things about Breath of the Wild, so it kind of felt like something I had to experience as well. I love its open world aspect, I love the environments, I love all the things you can do. I think it's really telling of a game when their side quests are just as compelling and just as fun and entertaining as their main quests, which they absolutely should be. So Breath of the Wild does that amazingly. We love Breath of the Wild, big up. Next on our list is Paper Mario and the Origami King. I don't know if you can see that, is it too bright? Oh no, I think that's okay. So with Paper Mario and the Origami King, you're teaming up against King Ollie, who's effectively brainwashed and turned people into origami, and then some people are his folded soldiers who are fighting for his cause. So you're trying to save the kingdom from this random enemy, which I don't think we've encountered in any other Mario series before. So I love this game a lot, and I know when I first was reading about it, it had quite mixed reviews, but I've always loved the Paper Mario franchise, particularly Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which was out on the GameCube. I played that so many times. Super Paper Mario on the Wii as well is also incredible. And because of my love for those two games, I owed it to Paper Mario to play it myself, and which I would advise everybody do. Yes, it's nice to listen to other people's opinions, but you will never truly know unless you try it out for yourself. And I'm really glad that I did. Now, the only thing about this game is that their combat system is a little bit different to anything I've ever experienced in a game. It's called a battle ring system. The aim of a battle ring system is to line up your enemies in a particular way to maximise the damage you do with your attacks. And it also minimises the damage done to you because you'll have cleared your enemies before it's their turn to attack. So it's essentially still turn-based combat as well. I'm not someone who's played a lot of turn-based combat games. I think Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door was actually my first glimpse into turn-based combat. I'm not particularly skilled at them, but because I'm motivated by the story and I find the characters very endearing in Origami King, I don't mind kind of venturing in to a combat system I'm not immediately comfortable with. What I do find quite entertaining about this is that a lot of the common enemies in Mario are also quite confused as to who King Ollie is and what's going on, and they're like, wait, this isn't us, like, you know, we're not doing this. It's like fourth wall breaking. I'd highly recommend this game. I think it's good fun. I'm really enjoying it. If it's something that you fancy picking up, I'd say do it. Okay, so next up on our list, technically it's not a physical copy of a game, but I have a case, so I'm thinking it counts. And we have Little Dragon's Cafe. I put it on this side because I think it's too bright in here and it's quite a white light case, so hopefully you can see that. So I was initially drawn into this game when I found out that the father of the Harvest Moon franchise, Yasuhiro Wada, was behind Little Dragon's Cafe. The Harvest Moon franchise to me was the original farming sim. Before Animal Crossing, before Littlewood, Cozy Grove, anything like that, Harvest Moon was the OG. The story of Little Dragon's Cafe is that you and your sibling are managing a cafe and raising a dragon in order to save your mum from a deep sleep. I'm just at a certain point in the story, I think, where I haven't quite got to all the exciting bits yet. I do like the characters, they are fun and they are quirky. There's a lot you can do in terms of collecting food to be cooked in the cafe, taking the orders, looking after the customers. It's more of a management sim in the bit that I'm at the moment. But if you fancy something relaxing, something casual, this is definitely on the list of casual games. It's not anything stressful or high pressure, so I would recommend it for that, absolutely. Sadly, that is all of my physical copies. Can you believe it? I only have 4. That's painful for me because I love having physical copies so much, and yet I only have 4. It's very sad. I just want more. I've got a lot of digital copies, so we're gonna have lots to talk about still, don't worry. Okay, so obviously, first up is the amazing, the famous Stardew Valley. You basically play as a farmer who's been given the deed to this farm by your granddad, and you're looking to start a new life away from the corporate world. And it's just beautiful. It's got a very strong message in there. Stardew Valley does a really good job of making you want to take control of your own life and live surrounded by nature and just abandon the capitalist society that we all live in. And I have this game on 3 different consoles because I've just not been able to resist it every time. I have recently discovered a new way of playing this game because I've had like 4 or 5 saves on it before. But I've always gone with the standard farm. So this time I'm going with a forest farm, and it's just completely changed it up for me because I can't lay out my farm the same way I've always been tempted to because I physically can't plant crops certain places of my farm. So if you're someone that plays Stardew Valley a lot and you want to like mix it up a bit, that would be my suggestion. Go with a different farm. I can't believe I didn't do this earlier. And for those who haven't played Stardew Valley, seriously, it's incredible. I don't even know how many hours I've put into Stardew Valley. The NPCs are amazing. I feel like everything that you interact with has just been so well thought through, and it was made by one person. Okay, ConcernedApe, Eric Baroni, you're amazing. And next up, we have the amazing, the beautiful Spiritfarer. Oh my, I just love Spiritfarer so much. It's heartwarming. It's really sad. You play as Stella, who guides and looks after spirits before they are released into the afterlife. If that isn't sad enough just to hear that, I don't know what is. The characters and the spirits you meet are so lovely and 3-dimensional. They've got flaws, like quirks. They've just been so well thought through, and I love characters that have so many layers to them because you always find a piece of yourself in these characters. It's just really hard to let them go to the afterlife because you get a glimpse into their soul and who they are, and then all of a sudden they're leaving. I can't really talk about this anymore because it just makes me too sad to talk about Spiritfarer. I just can't do it. I have to put a pin in it, everybody. We're pinning it. And just to make my pain worse, there is a physical copy of Spiritfarer, and you get a download code for the soundtrack. There's postcards and there's stickers. Never mind. But yeah, if you want a lovely, lovely management sim about dying, highly recommend Spiritfarer. It's one of my top recommendations for casual gamers. It is just lovely. Okay, moving on to our next game, we have Ni no Kuni and the Wrath of the White Witch. Now, I have watched Studio Ghibli films for most of my life, Princess Mononoke is by far my favourite Studio Ghibli film, so when I found out they were one of the developers of this game, naturally I was all over it. And I love the story. The story is beautiful, I can't get enough of the story in fact, but the game is really hard. I'm finding the combat system just so difficult. The thing is with this game, the combat system is most of the game. You can't really avoid the combat at all, and it has really stopped me progressing further from a stage very early on. And I'm so intrigued by the world because the introduction to this game was so well done. But this is definitely my problem, and I'm gonna have to watch more YouTube tutorials and figure it out because it is partially down to my own skill. I just wish it were like a little bit easier, just a smidgen, just a tiny bit. But I'm just having a little stop. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to carry on. I love it too much to kind of just to have a stop and bin it. You know, I'm gonna come back to it. We're gonna bin it anyway. Spent money on that game. Right. Next we have Heaven's Vault. Now I think this game is so interesting. I've never played a game like it before, and I'm going to tell you why. So you play as the archaeologist called Alia, who's searching for a missing roboticist at her university called Janaki Remba, and you are accompanied with her robot companion called Six. Throughout the game, you are uncovering Ancient, which is a language from millions of years ago in the game's universe, and you do that by finding landmarks and items that have inscriptions on it. Now, I've never played a game where a primary mechanic is translating a language. It's just a story that gets bigger and bigger the more you play, and the fact that the story is also non-linear means that you will have picked up on the plot point probably before or at a different time as somebody else playing this game. It's your own journey in this game, and I think if I played it again after finishing my first playthrough, I wonder if I would take the same path that I did the first time or how similar they would be. I haven't finished it, so there's a lot of mystery yet for me still to uncover. I'll link the trailer in the comments for anyone that's not heard of it so you can watch it and see what you think. Yes, amazing game, amazing mechanics. I'd highly recommend this game. The next game on our list is the beautiful puzzle game Gorogoa. I really hope Gorogoa is the correct pronunciation. It's a beautifully hand-drawn puzzle game, and it's a mechanic I've not seen in a puzzle game before. So the puzzle mechanic is built where you have a grid of 4 and you can either zoom in on one picture in the grid, move the pictures so they overlap, or interact with the pictures in the grid in the way the game wants you to decipher the puzzle. It's a really hard one to explain. I'm very early on in the game still, so in terms of what's going on in the plot, I'm not entirely sure yet, and I think that's on purpose. So I'll definitely link this one in the description so you can see what I mean when I'm explaining the puzzle mechanic, because I do think I explained it terribly. But yeah, it's a beautiful, eye-catching game. The art is stunning. Right, and then lastly for this video, we have the immensely popular Cozy Grove. This is a story about a spirit scout looking after the local ghosts, uncovering their secrets, discovering who they are and where they've been, all the while being farming sim, just crafting furniture and farming your fruit. It's a really lovely game. It's so wholesome, and the characters, again, so well written, and it makes a difference in farming sims and life sims when the characters feel really authentic, because they are a huge part of the story and of the experience as well. I also like the fact that a lot of it's in real time as well, like Animal Crossing, and there's only so much you can do in a day on Cozy Grove, which is great if you've got really busy lives and you can't afford to just spend all this time on a game. You know you can only do so much, you put it away, and that's that. Which is really lovely, because we're busy people doing our thing. It's important. Okay guys, so that's it for my part 1 video. Obviously I've got a lot more to share with you, so I'll do that all in part 2. Thank you so much for joining me, and yes, these dungarees are amazing. I just have to, now I keep seeing it on the little camera, I just have to tell you about it. It's just so cool. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in part 2.